Go sit down. Good morning and welcome to my Suzuki, where we've got an update on the pink Jimny. First of all, apologies if you've been following on and you wanted to watch every step of the way. There have been circumstances beyond our control, such as gale force winds, battering rain, having to keep the top shut, the garage door shut. Also, doing the welding, I was zipping about, and to be absolutely honest, to set a camera up and try to document it all was just a little bit too much, because what I wanted to do was do all the welding, get it all cleaned off, clean all the underside, underseal it all, and install new springs, new shocks. So where we are right now, we've got the welding done, which I'll show you. We've got the all the underbody protection done. However, it's far more of a comprehensive program than I would ever normally do, and this is because what I did was I took off the sill cover, and as you can see there, the wheel arch around the other side, the plastic cover that goes over it, found a little bit of rot on the inner sill that was underneath the sill cover. The wheel arch around the other side wasn't too bad, but you could see sort of the beginnings. So I decided to take all of them off so I could see and treat all of it, and it was the right thing to do, because the age of the car, it was getting to the stage where there was going to be some rust rot or corrosion starting to set in. So we treated it all. Anything that's had any rust, we ground it back, treated it with rust converter, painted it with zinc if necessary, covered it with the underseal, both sides, back and front. I'm going to do the interior of the boot when I take all the masking off, because I'll have to mask it off with all the inside off again. But where we are right now is, and why I wanted to do it today, was I wanted to take the opportunity of the nice weather, because we've got a storm warning for tomorrow. This is UK weather for everybody if you're not in the UK. We just got to work around it. But we are putting on today the suspension, and I want to show you the suspension before I put it on, because it is quite special, it is quite nice. So these are, that's the front shock absorber, which, as you can see, not the nicest. This is the rear one. I'll show you the front one first. There is a little bit of movement in it. It's not the smoothest. I can feel it pinging. This one, a little bit of a spring, nothing up and down, and that's why every time I went over a bump, it was like being in a 1914 car with metal wheels. There was no giving it. So irrespective of a little bit of a height, looking nicer, it's going to be a lot nicer ride. So these have been replaced with drum roll. Might have introduced the drum roll on the edit. These still in the plastic, because obviously the white, I've got gloves on, I'm touching this, I don't want to be touching that, I don't want to get them dirty. Obviously they're going to go under a car, they are going to get dirty. I'm going to try and keep them clean by cleaning them as much as possible, keep out of the bad weather. But we've got white struts, and to complement those, we have got white springs, because I didn't want black ones, because I thought if you're going to do it, you want people to be able to notice from underneath. If it's lifted a little bit, you start to see underneath it. I didn't want yellow ones, because this might sound really a little bit too overthinking it too much. Yellow doesn't really go with pink. I'm gonna put a white roof on it. I'm going to put some pink and white seats in it. So white was the obvious colour, and white I could not source them anywhere apart from Japan. So these are ordered from Japan. They came from Japan. A little bit more about those in a minute. These are the springs that came off. That's the short one. Now if you get a lift kit, maybe say you get a 2-inch lift kit from most manufacturers, you get 2 springs for the front, doesn't really matter. You get 2 springs for the back, but it does matter because that one is the offside, that one's the near side. And I don't know if you can tell unless I hold them. Hopefully you can tell. There is quite a substantial difference in those. They have to go on the right side or your car's going to be, it's going to look like a sailing boat that's going with the wind. But as you can see, they're functional, they're not broken, but they're original. They are 22 years old, past the best. So that's the short one. So that you can't really compare that one, but this is the new one. Again, I'm keeping it in wraps, and you've got quite a difference there, but it will compress differently, and should give about 50 millimeters of lift. Now, with the lift kit comes the instructions, and I'll pop up a screenshot of this. They are some of the instructions that came with it. As you can see, everything's in Japanese, apart from, and this is I'm really impressed with this. The front left is 400 millimeters, the front right is 415, the rear left is 348 millimeters, and the rear right is 370. So each one of the springs has to go on a particular corner. It has to, and they are all different lengths. Now, one of the reasons that I got this kit from Japan is because I wanted to source white ones. I wanted white ones. I looked all over. Oman Emu, it's got the yellow thing going on. And as nice as I think they are, I think you need to really think about the colours that you're having when you're putting any of these modifications on. But the second one is, I wanted one from Japan because I know how high the standards are. And I was intrigued when I saw that this white one, all 4 springs were different length, and I thought it'd be interesting to see the quality and the finish of them when they came. But also what I also got, which I'm quite excited about, is let's have a look at this. Can you see that? I will be showing this. There are some. This is just an introduction. It's going to be a long introduction, because I'm going to go over a few things and then I'm going to have a walk around the car. However, I did take little bits of video, little bits of photos as I went through the stages from the last video to this video. So the interim video, there is some information that which I will roll after this. So it's like a Quentin Tarantino film where it's all sort of disjointed, but it will all make sense in the end. So there's your panhard rod. Those functional. Had I not been doing anything with this, I would have cleaned it. But the reason, if you don't know what a panhard rod is, I'm going to literally give you the briefest explanation ever. And to explain it, I would say that that's your car and that's your axle. The only thing keeping them aligned is the panhard rod, because it's fixed to the car and fixed to the axle, so it's a particular length. Because apart from this rod that holds them, the axle isn't really holding on to anything, so it literally, the car will swing from side to side. Makes it very unstable. But because it's fixed to the car and fixed to the axle, if, let's say it's like that, okay, we're pretty much straight at different times. Let's say it's like this, and I'm going to exaggerate this now. If you lift the car up, the panhard rod doesn't get any longer, but the distance from there to there gets substantially shorter, which will pull the axle and the car out of line. So it needs to be longer. So the higher you go, the longer the panhard rod needs to be. and it needs to be set when the wheels are on the floor. So that is the one we've just taken off, and that's the front one. It's obviously the one at the front, one at the rear, because of your solid axle. And another drum roll, because this weighs a ton. We've got a real heavy duty stainless steel one, and what this has got two locking nuts there, one in the center, which means what we're going to do is we're going to set the length of this and we're going to lock it off. We're going to fit it to the car, put the car on the floor, measure the distance. There's a few ways to do it. What you can do, you can put like a straight edge against your wheel, measure to the wheel arches both sides, divide that by 2, and roughly that's how much it needs to go. But here, either side of this adjustment is, because both of these go independently. So if you, why it looks like I don't know what I'm doing is because one's a left-hand thread and one's a right-hand thread, which means that if once this is fixed to the chassis and the axle, and both of these are loose, see they both go, you put them the same way, they come towards each other, and because of that, that means that if you turn this, and to be honest, I would have to, it depends which way up it is, if you turn it one way, or it might not, if you turn it one way, both ends will get closer. If you turn it the other way, they get further apart, and that will push the axle either left or right, depending on whether it needs to go left or right. So it's an adjustable panhard rod, but it's a heavy duty one. But not only that, if you do you know what I mean, I don't need to tell it, it looks better. It looks better because you've got this real well-made stainless steel heavy duty rod, and this again it's an import from Japan. We've already got the suspension on the front. We've got one spring on the back. So, and the reason I stopped yesterday, like I say, I knew it was going to be a nice day, and I just wanted to show you these parts before I put them on, rather than show them you and say, look, they're on, this is how it is. Another reason why I've skipped doing the videos until this point, I've still got some things to do. I've got to put a new hood on. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try and source some rubber trim for between the plastic overarches and the body, which at the moment is pink. I think it would be nice, it would look nice, hopefully, if I could source some white ones that's slightly deeper. But one other reason that I'm a little pressed for time, well, two reasons really. Two reasons. One is I'm more than likely giving up my unit that I've had for, I've been in a mill for about 25 years, giving up the unit to get a slightly bigger one. And because I've been looking for quite some time now for something suitable, and it's like buses, two have come up. Two opportunities have come up. One's in the mill that I'm in, and one's in another place, which is part of somebody else's unit, which I'm looking at the pros and cons of each one. But in the meantime of that, I'm moving stuff out, I'm throwing stuff away, I'm doing some tip runs, I'm back and forwards, but also, I don't know if you remember on the last one, if you did watch the last one, we said because it was a pink Jimny, we'd probably like to do some stuff for charity. Then Heidi saw somebody posting saying, has anybody got a classic convertible that they could use for the charity gala, or gala, I call it gala, whichever you like. It's the Halifax one, it's the main one, it's the once a year one, it's a big thing, big procession, everything going on. But they wanted somebody with a classic car for Beauty Queen to sit in the back, but it had to be convertible. Fingers crossed, depending on weather. I got in touch with them and said, look, I've got this car. I didn't really say what condition it's in, because I was very, very confident it's going to be up and running and firing on all cylinders, so to speak, by the time, which is 2 weeks today. We're well on the way to doing it. There's not that much left to do. But I I offered it, and I spoke to the guy, and I said, I know you asked for classic cars, and it's not really a classic car, but when you think about it, it's nearly 25 years old. So when you do the sums, when you do the numbers, you realise how quickly time's going past, because it's a 2002, 2024, yes, it's 22 years old, but it's well over 20 years old as a car. So it is an old car, but on top of that, it's a convertible. On top of that, it's a Barbie car. So for a Gala Queen, it's a very sort of Princess Barbie type car, because it's so pink. We're going to do so many nice things to it. It's going to look a real picture, and all they want is something a little bit special for people to be driving in. So main thing for that, I'm sure it's going to be ready. I just hope that it's not going to rain, because if it does rain, all I can think is they're going to have to sit with umbrellas up. The godsend of that is, because it's a Jimny, the convertible roof, the back can be down, but the front above the driver can be shut. So it's not going to affect me that much, but for everybody else's enjoyment, it would be nice. I've got some other ideas lined up for it with regards to charity. We've got somebody who we might be doing a prom for, who runs a charity, a young boy, and I'll go into that further in another video. But I'm going to show you a little bit of a run round where we are now, and then probably finish up just by explaining where we're going next. Right, I'm going to document things as and when I go along. It's not going to be in any sort of an order, because it's over quite a few days when I get the time. So what I have done, I've cut out, they're not fully ready yet, but I've cut out all the metal that had corrosion in it, and I've come back to good metal. There is a little bit more to come out there. I haven't done that bit yet. The boot floor, 2 humongous holes, not to worry about though. They will have a plate in each. I've looked at this side, and I have ground it back, and the metal looks really solid. It just had a little bit of surface rust on it. Not like this side. As sometimes you find that I've had it with cars from Japan before, where you might get a car that is always parked in the same place to the prevailing wind, or we had one once where one side needed painting because the lacquer had completely faded. The other side was completely fine, and it was just because we parked it in the sun facing that way. It has had some welding done before, which looks like it's held up well. It's not the prettiest welding, you won't see it. What we're going to do, we're going to put rust converter on that. We're going to grind it back, and we may even add a couple more tacks if necessary. Probably not necessary though. Along the bottom of there, ground that back to have a look, see how it looks. I haven't 100% decided what to do yet with that. Down here, what to say about this? It looks all right. It looks all right. It just looks a little bit unloved. The worst bit in that frame is the strut. Now that strut's going. The spring as well. As you can see, it's peeling. It's looking a bit tired. The spring's going. That rod, the panhard rod, is going as well. That's going to have a stainless steel one put in place. Everything that you see there is going to be wire brush back where necessary. Any of the previous underseal that is coming away is going to be pulled away. It's going to be redone. All the inner box sections are going to be done. The body mounts all look good. Pop around here. Let's have a look. Again, like I was just saying, one side often is worse than the other. Now we've got amazingly really good access to this. So again, I haven't really decided whether I'm going to weld a plate on both sides or from one side to the other or through. Just depends which is easiest, which looks best. We've got a little bit on this corner. Still got some to cut back off there, but that is going to end up pretty well done. All this, all good metal. Around that back, which looked a little bit rusty, and it's solid both sides. As you can see, the body moulding's off. Body moulding's off that, and the sill trim around here. And the reason that's off is because you need to take this trim off to get this trim off. Found another patch there. Probably going to extend it back a little bit because as I've ground it back, I've found a few little pinholes, and it needs to be absolutely solid metal. I might even have to come back, but that's going to be decided as and when we get further forward. But the underneath, as I say, is looking really good, and it's to do with this. And what I'm sort of thinking now is, because I don't have a lot of experience of cars of this age, because it's a 2001, so it's nearly 25 years old. Not got a lot of experience of a 25-year-old UK car and how much they used to underseal it, and it looks like it was probably, and why I'm leaning towards this is it's before it was changed to a pink car, it was a blue car, and it is heavily undersealed in blue, and I'm just wondering if it's factory, and I think it probably is factory. If anybody knows, pop it down in the comments. I am going to carry on preparing it, and it's going to be we're well on the way. We've got lots of stuff ordered. We've got some exciting news which I'll come to at some point, but we're just going to crack on. Right, so we're on with the welding. To be absolutely honest, it's quite a struggle to try and film and talk and do all this because there's so many different procedures, but I'm just going to show you there. This is the boot floor from outside, and what we're going to do, we're going to put this plate on that we've made, that I've made, and it's gonna go pretty much on there. Going to weld all this on, and then give it some zinc paint, grind it down, give it some zinc paint, then give it some Dinatrol, and it should. It's all cut back there. It's all solid metal there. Should give it a new lease of life. Then we've got that one there. We've got a little bit of a thing going on here that we put a lot of rust treatment onto that, and I'll show you the boot floor shortly. The boot floor is all welded in. So, quick ad hoc video to show where we are, the progress we've made. A little bit light on the updates, but that's because got a bit of a deadline on this one, and I'll explain more in the next video or later on in this one, depends how I edit it. I just wanted to document the car before I started to put the underseal on, because to me this is like the service history. Service history, yeah, everybody wants a service history, but if you get a car, especially if you get a Jimny that has been undersealed, it's like buying a car and it's a Cat S or whatever. If it's damage repaired, it's no good. The seller saying to you, it was only light damage, so we repaired it. What you want is full documentary evidence of all the photo, all the damage, how severe the damage was, and what they did to rectify it. So we'll start at the front, and the front panel, it actually looks, now I've cleaned it up, it looks very, very, very good. I mean, you will see little traces of rust, but what we've done now, we've taken the rubbers off all the way along there. Ground back any surface rust we've found. Put on some Dinatrol rust converter. Just a little bit to go on there. That's because that was a clip for the bonnet release. We've literally just taken that off to the last second. This is going to be a little bit easier, a little bit more comprehensive because it doesn't have air conditioning. We don't have a second radiator there, so we can really get into the back of all this. I'll shoot it from underneath. Normally I would put, just wait for that bike to go past. Normally I would put some cardboard there. For some reason we've got a speedway going on. Normally I would put some cardboard there to finish it off, but I've left it because I want to get into the back of these. As you can see down there, it's in good condition. I would probably say that we are right in there. I've put some film around this so that I can just lift it to one side so I can shoot behind it. I want to get at the back of these. Normally it's not necessary, but this is going to be really comprehensive. Normally, again, this is above and beyond what I would normally do, and again, it's worth doing. I've taken the wheel arches off and the trim along the bottom of the door. I can usually get to it in a fashion, which means I don't know how to say it without saying them. It sounds like I'm saying normally do half a job. It's a lot more involved taking all this off, taking all the arches off. This had to come off because we had to address that. There's a little bit of a run there because this is the zinc paint that we put out, so that's a little bit of plate there. Some plate there, it's not the prettiest because of the metal it was going to, but it's solid. We'll fill the cavity with oil, with the wax, cavity wax, and we will be firing through all these holes. But taking off the arches means just a little bit of a bubble there. We could flat it off, put the rust converter on, but also front and back get the Dinatrol onto it. And like I say, this to me is better than a service history because you get to see what's underneath. And I always liken it to, I once bought a house that it was an empty house, so somebody had put wood chip wallpaper on front to back. And it's one of those where you really don't know what you're going to find when you take it all off. We can see under there, if the observant ones amongst you, doesn't take a lot to realise the exhaust, the back box has come off. We're putting a different back box on. The panhard rod has been taken off. As you can see, the springs and the struts are past their best. When I say past the best, they look a bit knackered, and to be absolutely honest, when I was driving the car around, only pottering about here to there, it was hard work. It was hitting thick stuff. There wasn't a lot of dampening going on, but we've got some new shocks and struts which I will address later. Some special ones. I think they're going to look pretty good. A little bit of a 2-inch lift, not a lot, nothing silly. I'm going to get on with this, and if we've got anything else to add to it, I will put it into this video. If not, we are going to probably be coming thick and fast with videos because there's quite a lot of things happening in the next 2 weeks with this car. Right, so here we go. Rear arch, bare, completely bare. All the arches are bare, all the sills are bare, simply because took them off, to give it an absolutely thorough underbody treatment. There you can see we really haven't missed anything, and it's not that it's a sort of a willy-nilly part-time job with the Japanese imports. It's just that they have no rust, no rot, no corrosion whatsoever. So what I'm trying to do with this one was treat any rust, treat any rot, cut out any rot, re-weld it in, and then make sure it's not going to go any further. I found out that there was a little bit of corrosion around here. Cut it all out, and welded a plate in there. Finished it all off. Down underneath, as you can see, we've had a long seam there, which from the inside I'll be doing the inside, but that's yet to be done. As you can see, there is again really good level of underseal. That down there we've got another patch down there where we found just a little round patch there of thin metal that you ended up putting a screwdriver through, and then as you cut it out, it ended up quite a big hole. Again, patched, and the cavity, the void behind here, flooded it all with the underbody wax, and then fired this this product in as well. So the seals are really well done, as well as again the wheel arch. Coming to the front, I mean, after doing this, I would probably suggest that if you're going to have your car done, these come off, and it's not an inconsiderable task, because all the clips have to come off. You have to consider, if you're seeing there, putting your rubbers on, sealing it again. It's just taking them off and putting them back on is a bit of a job in itself. Round to the front has come out really well. It looks really good. It's and I'm confident there is nothing here to worry about in the near future. You will see in one of the following videos that down here I put the masking further back so I could get to the back of the headlights, and all these panels I've managed to get around the back of them, so it's back and front. A lot easier, because with it being an old UK car, it doesn't have air conditioning, so it doesn't have a radiator there, and it's a lot more comprehensive. Very thorough. Round to this side, but there you go. Look, you can see, which I'll show you later. There is the new shock and spring. Like shock and awe, but more suspension based. Very difficult to see how it's riding at the moment, because you're missing the plastic wheel arch covers. We've also got these really old wheels, which are just for just putting the underseal on, so when the new wheels are on, I'm quite sure it's going to be noticeable. Round the back, we're back to the back. What we've got is, we've got the jacks on the wooden blocks. We've got the jacks on the wooden blocks because they need to sit underneath the chassis. So the axle stands are on the blocks of wood, and they are sat on the chassis rails, and that enables us with the jack adapter to drop the diff. So the whole axle drops, and that's what makes it quite an easy task here. Quite an easy task, because you drop the whole axle down, and there, if you can see, rear left. So they even have it printed on which spring is for which corner. Again, not an area at all that I haven't managed to get to, and that is for a number of reasons. One is dropping the diff has given me access right up and inside, taking off the exhaust, which I often do anyway, taking off the exhaust, and the panhard rod, which would go across there. It's going to be a lot more access. What I'm going to do, I'm going to put like an aftermarket exhaust on. There's a company that makes them. From memory, I think they're about £140, a little bit more than a normal one, but it's going to make it sound a little bit burblier, and it's going to go with it. It's from the back, if it's lifted enough that you can see the shocks and the springs, it will be a shame not to have an exhaust that's coming out and making a nice, it's not going to be anything over the top, but it would be nice to hear something a little bit different. What we've done, we have got any bits of weld there, we've double treated. You can see in the chassis legs, in the rails, down there all the way down to the front, there's been wax injected slowly so it gets everywhere, and then right at this far end it is blathered. It would be quite a good description of how it's been applied, but you don't want to scrimp on it. The back of the wheels there, everything, it's good to get all the brake lines done, because in years to come they dry out, they start to get a little layer of rust, and at some point during the MOT stages, the MOT tester will say, yeah, brake lines need replacing. If they're in decent condition and you get them covered, even if you cover them in grease, it will prolong their life and distance yourself from the agony of redoing all the brake lines. And there we have it. Without a doubt, the next time you see this car, the masking will be off. We'll probably be putting in a head unit speaker upgrade. We've got some speakers, I didn't show you those yet, and seat covers. We have been promised by the company who are making them for us that they will without a doubt be ready for the 8th of June. 8th of June is the deadline. We're hopefully going to have the car ready in the next 7 days. I would be looking at. We've got a roof to put on, head unit to put in, and the seats, and it's pretty much more or less there. There's not a lot else to do. Give it a good clean, give it a good polish, and we're somewhere near. So until then, see you soon.